are watching Faith World TV. Faith World TV, changing the world with the Word of God.
Hello, hi, welcome back to Faith2WORK. Good afternoon. Hope you're all well. My name's Brenda Thompson-Murray and I'm from Elaine Recruitment. So last week we had an amazing guest come to talk to us about his journey. I really hope that you found that inspiring, because I certainly did. And we wish Paul all the best for his future and those hopes that he has. He just keeps that hope alive. So this week I've decided to do a program around volunteering, and I've spoke about it in previous programs when we were looking at CV writing and also interview skills, and really kind of maybe making it a bit more, emphasizing on it a little bit more, to say volunteering is a really good option if you're not currently working, or if you're in the between jobs. So today I thought I'd do a program about it, so hopefully I'll be able to give you some top tips on volunteering, and hopefully by the end you'll hopefully make your mind up. For those of you who are not sure about whether you want to volunteer or not, maybe after watching the program you might have a better idea of whether you want to do it or not. Okay, so I just really wanted to kind of think about a study that I read, and a study that I read, it actually gave information that when you stop thinking about yourself and you concentrate on others, it actually helps you to reduce those stress levels. I thought that was really interesting information. And also it says that the study also showed that when you concentrate on other people, it actually helps your immune system, it strengthens your immune system. Now I thought that was quite intriguing information, that if you go out there and you're doing something for someone else, how that actually helps you. That's really nice to know that. So I just really want you to think about that as we're going through the program in terms of volunteering. So if I could have up the first slide, please. And I just want to start off today with a quote. And the quote is from Deanne Hollis, and he says that the life of a volunteer is never measured in size, but by the depth of the commitment to make a difference in the lives of others. Now I think that that's a really good quote, because it really does emphasize on others, which is what volunteering is all about. It's about giving yourself to others, but also it does make an emphasis on making a commitment. So volunteering is a commitment. It's not something that you could just pick up, put down. It's something that you would have to commit yourself to for you to really get the best from that. So I think that would be really good thing to think about, Deanne Hollis's quote today. So I guess some other information I kind of was looking through and I wanted to share with you around volunteering was from the National Recruiter survey. So the National Recruiter survey, they actually went around and surveyed recruitment agencies and the recruitment agencies' priorities, and they found that 82% of employers, they kind of had a preference to those with volunteering experience. And I thought that was quite interesting. Not to say that obviously that they would put anyone over someone else in a discriminative way, but actually if they see that someone has done volunteering experiences, that was actually quite a preference for them. So that's nice to know, and hopefully something that will help you to think about volunteering. And also there was a community service, so it's a corporation of the National Community Service, and they found that 27%, that people had a 27% better chance of securing applications if they volunteered. So I think that was really, really positive information to know. And again, I think it really does super boost your CV if you're volunteering. So again, that little pieces of information, hopefully that's a little bit of an enticement to get you thinking about volunteering. So whilst we know this, let's think about now maybe those benefits of volunteering, because obviously, you know, if you're going to decide to volunteer, you really want to know, you know, what you can gain from that. Obviously, it's about giving to others, but there's another side to that where I guess, you know, you're going to think about, you know, what can you actually gain? What are some of the benefits? And I mean, I have volunteered myself, and now it's a bit of a habit for me, because I find it so rewarding when I do, that I'm always looking for something else that I can do and that I can give back. But yeah, I just really want to get you to think about, you know, those benefits. So let's maybe go through some of those. So if I could have up slide 2, please. And slide 2 is really getting you to think about those benefits. So I guess the first thing we're going to think about is gaining confidence. So yeah, you know, I guess when you're going to do volunteering, you want to be able to boost that confidence, don't you? And I guess when you do, you know, give yourself to others, whatever, you know, organisation or to an event, you know, it is about being able to have a real sense of achievement. So I guess the gaining confidence part of it is a real benefit, isn't it? Because it builds your sense of achievement. And so the next one is to make new friends. So you can meet people. So it's nice to be able to get out and meet different people, isn't it? I guess if you're somebody that, you know, hasn't been getting out much, that's a really good way. I mean, we've been isolated. We've had a real long isolation period as a society, and we're just now getting out of it. So maybe, you know, you haven't had a chance to meet up with many people. This is a really good way, isn't it, to get out there and maybe meet people by volunteering. Or maybe you've had family around. Maybe it's, you know, you've got great family and a good friend circle, and so this is a chance to maybe have friends outside of that, or meet people outside of your circle. So that's a really good way to really good benefit really to volunteering, and that's meeting people. Next, I guess, learning new skills. Now that's one of the real key things, isn't it? Because whilst you're making that decision to volunteer, you know, you really want to know that, you know, you're building or learning something new. And I guess learning new skills is that's a real benefit and an advantage, because when you go out there, it might be that, you know, you're gonna volunteer doing something that, you know, is very kind of different to what you're used to doing. Maybe it's something that you've never done before. So when you volunteer, you're actually learning in that role to learn a new skill. So that's a really positive thing that you could gain. So also in our PowerPoint, we're looking at taking on new challenges. That's another benefit. You know, maybe you've already got those skills, but now it's a chance and an opportunity for you to practice those skills. You know, maybe you're not confident enough with the skills that you have to actually go for a job and be under that pressure of being in a contracted role. Maybe if, you know, you've got those skills and you're confident in a sense, but you just want to practice them. That's a good way. That's a benefit, isn't it, to a volunteering role? You could go out there and you could practice those skills, and that would really help. Now, I was just wanting to get you to think about some of those different roles that you could do, because I think sometimes if somebody's never really thought about volunteering, or they have, but they're just not sure what to do, I was thinking maybe to give you a bit of an idea. So for instance, you know, if you want to stay close in the community, and there are retirement homes near to you, and you have a skill maybe in maybe going there and reading some poetry, or maybe you're good with technology, that's something that you could offer to the retirement home. That's a way that you could possibly, you know, volunteer. I guess our retirement homes, they've had a real hit, you know, with the COVID, and they're now starting to get back to that life of, you know, trying to kind of get things back to that new normal. So it would be a really good opportunity maybe to go along there. If you've got skills in communicating with people, and, you know, you like poetry reading, so that's an idea. Maybe if you like cute and cuddly things, you might decide that you'd want to maybe volunteer at an animal shelter. Now, whilst you might not be able to do any hands-on work because you have to be very qualified to work with the animals, but you could maybe answer emails, answer phones, maybe do some filing, and I think so that could help you with your admin skills. But also it might give you an opportunity to assist with animal care if that's something that you're interested in. So that could be an option, couldn't it? Also, maybe if you're somebody that has a sense of maybe culture, maybe you have a sense of culture, you could maybe approach a museum and go along there and ask them if they have any volunteering roles. I know that a lot of museums, they tend to have different types of programs that they do, and once you build your knowledge base, they can actually maybe get you to start being a tour guide. So that's if you have a sense of culture. So again, those are like free options, but there are many other options out there that you could take. But I just thought I'd share that just in case you're somebody that's not sure where to start in terms of how you might volunteer your services. So I hope that was useful to you. Okay, so if I could now have up the last slide, please. So I guess when volunteering, I mean, it's really important that we work in a safe environment, and we know that when you're volunteering, most organisations, if not all, they have a duty of care that you are working in a safe environment. So they really need to be looking after you whilst you're volunteering and giving your time. But also I wanted to share some of these top tips with you to help you as well, because you also, as in a volunteer role, you have a responsibility too. So I just want to kind of maybe remind you, probably know all of this already, but I just wanted to remind you that of data protection. So whilst you're volunteering, whilst you're in that role, whatever role that may be, and it could be a role with people that you have contact with people, maybe vulnerable people that you're working with, and often what happens is you get a chance to see their personal information sometimes, or you hear personal things about the person that you're volunteering with. So it's really important that you make sure that you understand confidentiality, and that you don't mention those names or addresses or information to anybody else. Because it can be really exciting when you get a new role and you just want to tell everybody all about it, but it's really important to remember and be mindful to remember that this role that you're in, whatever it is, there'll be a confidential side to that, and you should ensure not to share that information with people that are outside of that volunteering role or organisation. All right. So next one is equality. Now, I guess equality is very broad, but I think it's so important because when you're going out there and you're volunteering yourself out your services, you get to meet new people. Like we already established, that's a benefit, isn't it? But also you're going to meet people that are different from you. People that look different, they may speak different, act different, their way of life might be completely different to yours. But it's so important to remember to remain respectful to that difference, to ensure that, when you are working with people that are different from you, that, you're respectful to them, because of course you want them to be respectful to you. We all like to know people are respectful to us. So it's important to be respectful to others. And I guess it's a real good opportunity as well to find out about that difference. Maybe you've never met anybody like this person before. It's a good opportunity to sit down over a cup of tea or, and just talk about, what they do. So you have a better understanding of what that difference is. And then you walk away thinking, well, it's something that you didn't know about. Now you understand that person a bit more. Or that way of life a bit more. So that equality side, I think, is a real important part to volunteering, just ensuring that you maintain that with people that you come into contact with, that you're respectful to them. Okay, so the next part, I think, is safeguarding. Now, I guess safeguarding, again, it's a really big umbrella, but I understand that when you're out there volunteering, you really want to make sure that, you understand those safeguarding rules. And, if there are any concerns that you may have, often when you're volunteering, you have a manager, you have a coordinator that will be in charge of the volunteers, someone that you can talk to. Make sure you talk to them about any concerns you may have. Maybe you've overheard something, or maybe, somebody's told you something. Because what can happen when you're volunteering is, if you're volunteering in an environment where, people, you're working with people, sometimes people don't see you as staff. So they tend to confide in you. And maybe someone's told you something, or, somebody tells you something you're not sure about. Make sure you let them know that you're going to have to share it. Yeah, so with your manager. So I think it's really important, that in terms of, that having that safeguarding umbrella around you at all times, making sure your responsibilities in that. Make sure you share any concerns with your coordinator or the person that manages you. It might be that you may see something that you don't like, something that's happened, something that you might see maybe as it might be abusive, but always check that and always discuss that with your manager. Often you could also be an advocate. Maybe somebody's telling you something for you to be a voice for them. So again, it's really about ensuring that you speak to your manager and the person that's overseeing you as a volunteer. So always try and have a good relationship with them, because it's important that you have a great connection and a communication style that allows you to be able to talk to them about things that might concern you within your role. So make sure you do that. Okay, so training. Now, I think training is such a great thing. I mean, when I've volunteered in the past, any training that was on offer, I always went on it, because I always found it always so useful. So I would always encourage that, to go on any training that's available. Often the training that you have that is available is really about that organisation that you're working with. So that type of training is really important, because it gets you thinking about their policy and procedure, and understanding that, what's those remits around your role, because those kind of training events will help you with that, and will help you with what to do in a time of an emergency, and what those protocols are for your role as a volunteer. So always ensure that you go along to those training events that your organisation provides, and outside of that, sometimes they will provide other types of training to help you to do better in your role. So always take up those training events, because they're always so useful and helpful. And also, we can't deny the fact that we can also put that on our CVs, can't we? We can add them to our CVs, and also to our application forms when we're completing those application forms. And that's always a help. And I've already said at the beginning that, the National Recruiter Survey, they really, showed evidence in their surveys that, recruiters, they really do, show good preference to those people who are actually, doing some volunteer work as well as those paid work. So it's going to be helpful, isn't it? If you can add that training to that as well. So that would be really, really good. And I guess it's really about being able to showcase the fact that, you're willing to give, at a time that you're not in work, you're willing to actually give a bit of yourself to a good cause, or to something that you're very interested in. So that's going to be really, really helpful for you to do that. And I guess the other thing I wanted to add to volunteering is to have fun. Often when we're doing something that, when we're in work, we obviously want to have a bit of fun, but it's quite serious, isn't it? It's quite serious when we're working, we're contracted to do a certain role, and we tend to be quite focused on those sort of job responsibilities. But when you're volunteering, although there is a little bit of a role specification there as well, you've just remember to have fun with it, enjoy it. And I'm sure, that journey will make that journey a lot easier for you. So, yeah, I really hope that you kind of found that that useful, because I guess volunteering, it is a commitment. Maybe, you want to do maybe just part-time or full-time. It really doesn't matter, but think about it. If you are thinking, yes, this is something I want to do, think about the time that you can give. Don't say that you're going to do a full-time volunteering role when you can't do that. Some volunteering roles have specific times, so they have those hours that they'll give you. So some volunteering roles come with a specific amount of hours. You can't really get around that. But if you know that you've got a certain amount of hours, think about those hours that you'd like to give. Be very clear about that, because once you've decided to do it, once you say that yes, it is a commitment. So if it's 3 hours a week or 2 hours, 5 hours, then really commit to that, because I guarantee you it'll be worth you doing that. So also, I think if you're planning on volunteering as well, just to think about sort of where you might want to volunteer. I've given you a few sort of ideas already, but try and choose something that that is interesting to you, or that you may find interesting. Because I guess the last thing you want to do is just kind of volunteer doing something that you don't find interesting or you don't really like, just because it's available. Try to find something, and I'm sure you'll be able to find something out there that's available. I mean, we've gone through quite a lot in life at the moment. For the past year and a half, it's just been so difficult for businesses, and for us in general as a society, and we now are hopefully easing out of that, where places are now starting to open. We can kind of socialize a little bit more, and it's a really good time, I guess, to think about doing something that maybe you haven't done before, or maybe something that you was doing maybe before the COVID struck, and you just maybe want to get back into that. So I just want to encourage you to kind of keep that energy going, because it can be so easy that you get into a certain way of doing things, and it's hard to then get out of it. So I want to encourage you really to just try and go out there and make an effort to do something. And even if it's just a phone call, maybe you could phone these places up, maybe look on Google. Maybe if you're interested in maybe the animal shelter, like I mentioned earlier, you could maybe Google that. Where are the nearest animal shelters in your area, or the retirement homes, or local museums? Or maybe of somewhere already, the local church. Maybe they could do with your assistance. So you could really start anywhere, really. So we've looked at the benefits, haven't we? We've talked about the benefits of it, so we know that it will be good for you to do it. And we've looked at the safety aspect of it, so we know that there is a duty of care on those people that you're going to be volunteering with, in terms of the organisation, and so there's that there as well. And then just to think about your own responsibility in that, ensuring that you understand what those responsibilities are, and don't be afraid to ask those questions, because the good thing about being in a volunteer role is that you don't have those restrictions where where you don't know and you can't say. You can say that, look, I don't know this, I don't understand. It's a good opportunity to just really ask all of those questions and get all the support that's there, really, for you to really get into that role and understand more about that role or that area that you're volunteering in. And you never know, you could learn new skills as well, new skills that could take you to different places that you would never even imagine. Because I know that when I volunteered in the past, I volunteered with Suited and Booted, as I mentioned when they were on the show a few weeks ago, and I had such a great time. It was so rewarding, but I didn't know that later on, years later down the line, I would have my own business where I would be partnering with them in terms of sending people to them to be dressed, getting them ready for work. So you just never really know where volunteering will take you. You some people see it as, well, if you're not getting paid, why bother? But I think that there is, a real substance in volunteering, and it really does help you to feel inspired. It gives you the confidence boost that a lot of us need right now. It's giving you skills. I've given you a list, but there is a lot more that to add to that list that I'm sure you could find. So I just really want to encourage that you do that, or if you're thinking about it, to maybe research it for yourself. But get in touch with me at Elaine Recruitment, www.elainerecruitment.co.uk. Maybe drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you about your story regarding volunteering, or even the show today. I'd really like to hear about your thoughts and whether you are volunteering. Maybe you're in a volunteering role already and you're loving it, and you just want to share that with me. I'd love to hear from you. Please get in touch, and I'll be able to talk to you more about any other roles I know that are volunteer roles that maybe I could share with you, and you could go and find out more about those. So I'm here to support you, really. So please get in touch if you can. So I just want to leave you guys with a scripture today. Through love, serve one another. And we know that we have a great God. I can't say it enough. We have a great God that loves us, and he wants us to share our gifts and talents with everyone. So, or with people. So ensure that we try to do that. And I'd like you to just leave that scripture with you. That's Galatians 5:13. Okay? Through love, serve one another. So thank you for joining me today. And I hope you found it very useful. And just remember to keep putting your faith to work. Thank you. Stay blessed until next week. Goodbye.